Hello, good evening. This is Dr. Joanna Jabi Herrera here with you in the at the new home of Mindful Mondays here at We Thrive. So I'm one of the co-founders of We Thrive, and if you've been following Mindful Mondays, we were having this hosted in our Circle of Hope Facebook page, but we have now moved to a new home. You're going to be joining us live for Mindful Mondays here at We Thrive. And it's also going to be a shorter practice than what you were used to if you've been following Mindful Mondays. So instead of a 30-minute session, this is going to be a 15 to 20-minute practice session. And we redesigned it this way because we want this to be more feasible for everyone to participate in and be part of. So it's a Monday evening, maybe you're at the end of a busy workday and about to transition to maybe taking care of things at home. So this Mindful Monday pause is a way for us to gather ourselves and to, give ourselves a few moments to rest and to restore ourselves. So, as we begin, I just wanted to, welcome you all again and maybe just give a brief introduction to mindfulness and myself and Ms. Tucci Reyes, who I will, be alternating Mindful Mondays with as a guide and a teacher, will be will be shepherding our practice as we go along. So we will be, sharing nuggets about mindfulness and the practice of mindfulness week by week. As John Kabat-Zinn said, we can't stop the waves, but we can learn how to surf. It has been perhaps a very stressful time for many of us with the increase in the number of COVID cases here in Metro Manila and other parts of the Philippines and even other parts of the world. The vaccine is here, but it hasn't really been a an easy rollout, and it's not as if it's a magic response to what's been happening, right? It's everything is going to take time, and with the fatigue setting in, with the pandemic and the lockdown, things can get stressful. So although we cannot stop the waves, although we cannot fully control everything that's happening around us, our practice can be our surfboard. Mindfulness can be our way of somehow surfing the waves so that we don't have to be toppled over. So, for those who are new to mindfulness practice, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness means paying attention to what's happening in the present moment. We are orienting our attention to the here and now in the mind, internally, in our bodies, in our external environment. We're orienting ourselves to both internal and external realities with an attitude of curiosity and kindness. So, the quality of attention that we are cultivating with mindfulness practices, one that is curious, that is kind, that is open and compassionate. So, we bring our attention to our experience, both internal and external. We bring our awareness and open our awareness to what is happening so that we can see and look deeply. And there's also this aspect of acceptance, of meeting our experience with a sense of openness and acceptance, letting things be just as they are. So it's not rushing to fix, it's not rushing to change or problem solve. There is a time for that. We're not saying no to problem solving, we're not saying no to fixing, but with mindfulness we want to come from a place of being able to look deeply into what's really happening, and to pause and accept things just as they are before we move into action, so that our action can come from a place of wisdom. Mindfulness helps create that space that allows us to be more free, because our response comes from, you know, a well considered place of being able to filter our impulses and our thoughts and our emotions. So without mindfulness, we might be impulsively and immediately reacting to a stimulus, to a feared situation, to something that's making us angry and upset. But with mindfulness, we elongate this gap between stimulus and response, so that our response can come from a place of, of being able to stop, to look deeply, and to consider wise action. And today, our practice will, you know, focus on breath awareness. The simple but really powerful act of breathing. Breathing reminds us we are alive. Breathing allows us to connect and harmonize our body and our mind. With one conscious breath, we become present to this moment with a full and open heart. And you'll be surprised at the power that this conscious breath can do. So we're going to start. So I'd like you to find a place, a posture that feels solid, perhaps planting your feet, both feet on the ground, or maybe sitting in a cross legged or lotus position. Taking a moment to find a dignified and upright posture with both feet flat on the floor, feeling the solidity of the floor, of the earth beneath us. And if you're sitting on a cross legged or lotus position, feeling the solidity of the chair you're sitting on, allowing the eyes to gently close or soften your gaze down to the floor if that feels right for you. Checking in for just a moment with the sensation of the body. Just noticing what emotions are present in this moment. And noticing as best as you can where your mind is, what your mind is doing. And letting that all be just as it is. Letting yourself be just as you are. As best you can, taking your awareness into the body to notice the sensations of the breath. It's helpful to take 2 or 3 breaths that are just a bit deeper than you would usually or normally take, just to help you sense that place in the body where you feel your breath the most. Maybe it's in the belly or the abdomen, or maybe it's in the chest area. So notice the place in the body where the breath is most present, most noticeable. Perhaps a place where it is also most pleasant. And letting go of your control of the breath, not manipulating the breath in any way, but just trusting the abundant wisdom in your body to breathe just right, and just observing, just being with the breath rather than controlling the breath, allowing the breath to simply flow naturally, just the way it is. Perhaps you may notice how the breath expands the chest on the inhale and falls away on the exhale. Sensing how the chest lifts and falls away with each breath. Lifting and falling away. And tracking as best you can the entire cycle of the breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Allowing the air in and releasing the air out. And simply tracking the sensation of each inhale and each exhale. Sensing the air in the nostrils, traveling and grazing into the throat and into the lungs. And as you exhale, feeling the slow release of air from the body. Allowing yourself to get as close as you can to the sensation of your breath. And perhaps with each breath, feeling a bit more spaciousness, allowing that spaciousness to perhaps create a sense of relaxation, but not forcing it. Using the awareness of the breath as your anchor to this present moment, finding home in each moment as we breathe in And as we breathe out, allowing the breath to be our bridge to now, to coming home, to arriving in presence. Noticing the breath right here, noticing this breath here, noticing each breath as it develops, allowing any tension in the body that isn't needed to be released with each exhale. Yet allowing any tension that remains to be just as it is, allowing this mindful breathing practice to be gentle and kind. We're not forcing anything. Allowing the breath, the inhale and the exhale, to ebb and flow, noticing sensations of breathing in and breathing out. Perhaps observing where your attention is now. Where does your attention go during quiet moments? It is very natural for our mind to wander off to thoughts, and that's really okay. We simply usher gently our attention back to the breath. Each time that you notice your mind has wandered off, you're doing the practice just right. Notice when the mind has wandered off and simply come back home to the breath. That is mindfulness. Our practice of coming home, moment to moment, gently bringing our awareness back to the breath, noticing once again how the chest lifts or expands on the inhale and falls away on the exhale. This lifting and falling away of the breath is completely familiar. It's a reliable anchor to the present moment, right here, right now, this breath. It's been a busy day, a lot of thoughts, a lot of tasks, but this moment is allowing yourself the space to be just as you are. Breathing in and breathing out. Right here in this moment. We close this practice with gratitude to ourselves. Gratitude to ourselves for being able to stop and to pause. And this short mindfulness practice is a moment of restoration, restoring ourselves with care. We also allow this caring to ripple out to others. Thank you so much for joining us here at We Thrive for Mindful Mondays. And we will see you again next Monday at 6 o'clock with Ms. Tucci Reyes for this ongoing journey in our mindfulness practice. Thank you so much. Have a safe and mindful week ahead. See you again.